Okay, so the last video we kind of left off here. I brought this logo in, so if I do a Command plus, you can also use the magnifying glass here if you want. And if you push on the space bar and hold it down, you'll get this hand. Then you can actually kind of click around and drag around your canvas. So I'm on the black arrow tool. I want to grab this, make sure you're not grabbing it here. Might move it off to the side here. We filled it in with white so that it popped off the background a little bit. I'm actually going to add a little bit more of a border to it, because it just seems like this margin is like super narrow, and this is the Havre trail, the E on Havre and the S on trails and the E on bike, and like even on this side was really close to this edge, and I don't like that. I want there to be a little bit more breathing room so I can actually kind of grab the white arrow tool to select the actual image that I brought in. This is the actual white box that we have it in right now. If I use the white arrow tool, I can get that pink box that's inside the it's kind of hard to explain, but, and then I can use the keyboard to kind of adjust that. So I had that. So if I do this, I kind of like this, but maybe it's just too big, so I might do if you just push E, you can get the free transform tool. If you hover over it, you can see that there's an E behind the name of the free transform tool. That will tell you with the shortcut command. If you push M, you'll get the rectangle tool, and we'll get you the pencil tool. So, I mean, I've just memorized pushing E gets me this, because I use it so often. And then I can just hold shift, and size it down. I might make it about this size. And if you want to see the size of anything, you can actually look up here. So it's 1 inch wide by 1 inch tall right now. Width and height are right here of this box that I have selected currently. So maybe I'll move it up a little bit, and then I'll just extend this white beneath it so that it meets up with this. Oops, I just stretched it. I'm still on this tool. I want to be on the black arrow tool. Maybe something like that. I don't know if that looks weird. It's a little bit weird. I kind of don't want to go much smaller than an inch wide either, because that's actually kind of small. I mean, it's still big enough, definitely, but oops, I just moved to the second page here. I'm not sure what I pushed there. Okay, well, this might actually look better if I could center it, but I'm not really sure if that... I might actually make it a little bit, have a little bit more breathing room around it even than what it has now. So I'm going to use the black arrow tool, make sure I'm on that, to extend the white around the box around the logo with the black arrow tool. There we go. Oops. Sorry. So yeah, that's looking better, I think. I think having that much space around it is actually helping it to look better. Maybe I'll tuck it in a little bit more even, and maybe I'll try and center it within this grassy space here. So this and this are kind of even. And then I'll just kind of prop it up a little bit so it's not hanging out too far. I don't know. Still wondering if that's the right way to go, but it's not terrible, but it may not be the best way to do it, but I kind of noticed with this font too, with this particular set of letters, that I feel like I need to tighten it up a little bit, the tracking, so I can actually do that here. That'll really tighten up all. It doesn't stretch the font at all, it just changes the space between. Obviously I don't want them that close. I just wanted them a little bit, just a little bit closer maybe. So this is where they were by default, but I might just bring them in a little bit. And I'll just center this in here in this green space. I don't know, I might not need this text. I mean, I could maybe just put like, I could spend all day doing this, but I could maybe just put this like here, and we could actually make the background color like maybe different than the mountain color. I don't know. I'm not quite sure which color I would go with. And also it's problematic because there's some reason there's a white box in here, which we could go into the EPS file and delete that white box that's behind. Actually, I think it's maybe the yellow that he's filling in, whoever did it, filling the sky with. They went past the actual brown box around everything. Yeah, maybe we'll do that. So we'll go into links. This is the EPS file, so if we do Control, click on that, we can edit with. And we can do Photoshop. Or no, I didn't want to do it in Photoshop. Sorry, guys. I wanted to do, so Control click on a Mac. You can probably just right click on it in a PC, edit with Illustrator, because this is an EPS file. So there must be, yeah, he's got chunks. I think it was a guy that made it. Wow. So there is some sort of color here in the background, I think. So if I just grab all this, maybe, well, maybe if I just grab this in particular, and then Command G to group it all together. I'm just going to actually just fill in the frame completely. I probably shouldn't be totally manipulating their logo, but because it's not my logo. But if you just do little subtle things, nobody really notices anyway. And then I'll just, hopefully that'll get rid of that weird white box that's kind of in the background of this. It might be because he has like a glow on it or something, but, and then if I do Command S, now if I go into InDesign, that link will probably be, well, did it automatically update? No. Maybe it's not done saving. Command S, I'm back in Illustrator. Let's go back to InDesign. Maybe that didn't fix it. I kind of thought maybe it would come up as broken or needing to be refreshed, but I guess maybe that didn't fix it. So Command, oh, let's see. File, place. Haver Trails. Open. I guess I'll just try and re-import it. And it's huge. So I'll zoom out, try and size it down here. Zoom back in. Did that fix it? No, it totally didn't. Okay, that's annoying. Not quite sure why there's a white box behind it. Because in Illustrator, it doesn't really even look like there's anything there. Maybe if I do a file, save as, and make it like a JPEG or PDF, maybe. I don't want the bleeds in there. Save PDF. Maybe I can. Sorry, guys. Maybe I'll try a different. File, place, let me try and find that new file that I made. I'll just make this list. There's that PDF. Zoom out. size it down as much as possible. Sorry, I'm spending way too much time on really small details. I probably should just move on. But I want to get it right if I can. That did work, so I made it a PDF instead. Sometimes just different file types turn out different. So like maybe I can just nestle this. So if I click on this logo and this green shape, we can do object, arrange, send to back, and that'll send them back together so that everything is behind the mountain shapes and stuff. And then if I actually extend this into the middle here, it'll be behind all of these shapes, so we won't be able to see it really. And if I'm a little bit worried about it, I can always select that and use this little feather tool and just kind of feather the edge of that. So if we do a Command 0, we can kind of see what that looks like. It looks pretty good. Okay, well, let's just say that's what I decided to go with for the front panel. So this is the back panel. And actually with most good designs, when it comes to brochures, the design has some sort of continuation to it. So typically what I would do with a brochure is I would try to continue my design onto the next panel. So, you know, I can select all of these shapes. If I click on this and click on this and just do Command L to lock them just temporarily so that I can select these shapes, push Shift to deselect and click on this to deselect, and then I'll do a Command C, Command V, copy and paste, and I'll just kind of add more mountains. Actually, let's bring them up a little bit. Okay. So that's looking pretty good. And I mean, if this was a big image, we could maybe just have one big image that would go, but I think I'll just bring in another image for the back panel. So I'll just click and drag a box. You don't have to always bring in images. You can actually make the box to bring the image in first. This is just a different way of doing it, and then do file place. And we'll just add this to columns again because I want to actually look at my photos and see which ones I'm actually going to be bringing in. There's a lot of stuff in here that I don't want to look at actually. A lot of actual like maps and different things like that, but boy, where are my images? Must be further down. It's a hiker icon. He's kind of cute. I could probably put him on the front cover if I wanted to. That's kind of a good photo, actually. Maybe I should try to use that. So I'll open that one up. It's going to be huge, but if I click on the white arrow tool, I can select that, and you can zoom out and see where we're at. And actually, I'm going to have it go on the inside panel too, maybe. Actually, no, I'm not, because I need more text. I need more room for text. So I'm just gonna try and size it to the size of this box as much as I can. It's a pretty wide image, so I'm not going to be able to make it perfect. But so if I click out of there, and then if I do object arrange on this box, send to back, that can kind of place it. And there we go. There's the back cover. And we could do a find us on Facebook. I'm actually just going to copy and paste it from this other one here. So you can just find a Facebook icon online and do a file place on that. Make sure you get it in your document. This actually has a white background on it, which I don't really want. So I can bring that into Photoshop and get rid of that white background if I really wanted to. Or you can even crop it down around it and then put corners on it to get rid of that white background.